Yo, what is up, guys? Here with another video. Got our second week of trying out your guys' submitted water decks, and so this week we have Marvin underscore red. I'll put his name somewhere in here. It'll be hanging around. But yeah, let's kind of get into it. He sent me a control water list, mainly based on like the ice jades, in the ice barrier Lancia card. So yeah, we'll get into this. This is a very different list from what I'm used to playing. So it'll be very exciting to honestly try out because there's a lot of things I want to say I disagree with, but I don't know if I would call it disagree with, just something I haven't tried before. But yeah, so we'll start getting into it. Starting with the Atlanteans, got a triple prince. Also, look, dude, two secrets. Okay, I have three, but then I got a QCR. So slowly racking up the prince QCRs. Really, if I could, I just want to get all the ulties out of my deck and just play them, look at like QCRs instead. Just because the ultis, I've had them for like 10 years, and I'd like to just kind of store them and like let them, be safe and not die. And then play one infantry still. He just plays one infantry. And this list, I understand why, but I cannot wait till I start playing the list that I've been conjuring up. We will definitely be trying out two infantries again, unless things change. I plan to play through quite a few lists before I do something on my own. Although I will say, guys, there is a regional in Indianapolis on the 23rd of November. I am going to be trying to go to that, so that is actually something I'll be looking forward to, and I'll probably take my own list for. But yeah, so we'll see how that turns out, see if I actually go or not. But yeah, so continuing on to Abyss, Rhine, Shrine, whatever. Only two here because there's no Deep Sea King here. Which I'm really honestly not even upset about. I don't really miss that card. It's really good, but at the same time, it's still a brick at the end of the day. And yeah, I don't know. It's just it also forces you to play all the fishes, and I didn't like Harpooner playing it. I like three pikes in my head, but in reality, it's really not that great. So yeah, so our targets for Shrine aren't as valuable, and those targets are maxed out on quantities, so there's really no point to play maxing out on the Shrines. I do like Shrine at 3 still, and I probably still would, even if I wasn't playing the Deep Sea King, but in this particular list, he's cutting down a little bit. And then we have 3 Dragoons, which I did finally replace my super with it's not a QCR, it's like a special secret or whatever, but it looks just fine. So yeah, these are our Atlanteans. Yeah, I think this is fine. So continuing on, but yeah, so I guess like just little notes here. Still one infantry, 2 shrines, everything else is here. No marksmans, no additional infantries in the side or anything. Yeah, so on the mermail, so you have 3 Teus, 1 pike, and 2 shadow, and that is our mermail list. Pretty wild. So there's a lot I'm missing out on here. I don't get to play with my gun. I don't get to play with my megalo. And just the limited amount of pikes is crazy. 2 shadow is crazy. I'm definitely curious to see how this plays out, because I am a proponent of you have to play 3 shadow. So I'm really curious to see how much this affects me, how my hands look. I'm gonna have be very, very interesting. But yeah, 2 shadow. So yeah, it's consistent. If you technically should break less in terms of like opening water cards without discard outlets for them, or just opening multiple pikes. That shouldn't be happening, obviously, because there's only 1 pike, and no gun, so no brick there. But yeah, very interesting. So we'll see how the low mermail count plays out. Continuing here, we play 3 Ice Jade Rans. For me, I've always been typical, like, okay, if I'm gonna play 3 Rans, I probably rather play like 2 Rans, maybe one of the Ice Jade. Oh man, there's an Ice Jade that summons from hand. You discard. It basically acts as a Harpooner, and then you play a couple of the Ice Jade Cradles, the Searcher spell. It's not once per turn. Kind of gives you some flexibility on your Ice Jade engine. He's just playing it safe, going consistent, which I don't disagree with either, and just playing the 3 Rans. I think that's great. I think Rand's a pretty cool card, and it's a pretty integral part of what his deck is trying to do. So yeah, three Rands here. And then for 1-ofs, we have 1 Ice Jade, or not Ice Jade, Moonland Glacia for the hand rips. 1 General Ryo. So we are playing the Ice Jade or Ice Barrier Lancia in the extra deck. So this is going to be kind of like our floodgate that we're going to play with today. And then he plays 1 Deep Sea Diva. I guess not to be honest, I don't even really know. Looking at his list, I'm not even too sure why we want to play the one Deep Sea Diva here. Maybe just to get him the amount of, you know, 1 card starters he's looking for, because additional, you know, 1.5 starter 1-for-1. We also have Prosperity, which you could technically look at as a starter, and then we have 2 Small Worlds, which is also a starter. So maybe he wanted to get a certain count with the, I guess that's 8 1-card starters with these 4 spells, 1 Deep Sea Diva, and 3 Princes. Maybe that's just what he was looking for. This is a 40-card list, so that's probably what it was. But yeah. So getting it, so yeah, Deep Sea Diva, it's just another 1-card starter when you need it, just to add some consistency. 1-for-1's pretty obvious for this deck. And then, so I have been wanting to play Prosperity, so I'm excited to play that, because I do think this extra deck has room to banish. His extra deck is a little more tight. I don't think, so in the other water variants I've been playing up to this point, I definitely could see how you could banish 6 to get your, for your Prosperity. But with this list, it almost looks like you're maybe closer to wanting to banish 3. But we'll see when the actual games like play out. But yeah, so 1 Prosperity, I do like that, because the deck doesn't draw a lot. And then we have 2 Small Worlds, and so Small Worlds is another interesting card for me to play. So I have never played Small World, and I just, on just a technical level, just objectively, I look at Small World as a bad card. You know, there's groups of people who swear by Small World, saying it's super consistent. Why would you not play it? You only need 1 card to play. It doesn't matter if you're losing a card to get the card you need. And I understand that. But then at the same time, I look at Small World as it's just a -1 all day. And yeah, it does bait out Ash, and you don't get the -1 if they Ash it. And I do like that, and so that's definitely a fair reason to want to play it. But I do just look at Small World as a -1, and I look at it as a card that you can top deck but you can't play with, and so it's basically like a brick mid to late game. So I am very wary of this card, but I understand the power of it, and I understand the fact that, yeah, you know, it gives a lot of consistency to your deck when going first, and so maybe like. I don't know how this will play out. I don't know if I want to be like siding these out going second, or maybe I side one out. We'll see. And I guess my last little note on this is I need to look at my deck for a minute before the first round starts and kind of figure out where the bridges are. Because I kind of know water bridges, but there's a lot of hand traps in here, so I'll need to look at those and see if there's any bridges available there. But yeah, that is our engine for the deck. We are looking at 25. So we have 15 non-engine here. We have 2 Nibirus, 1 Magnemite. This should be 2 Drewsworms, but I only have 1. I have a few buddies who have Drewsworms, so I should be able, for my locals today, I should be able to have 1 Magnemite, 2 Drewsworms, just in case though. And for representation, I have the Baldrake here. But yeah, so we have the 3 Bestials, then we have 1 Droll, and we have 3 Ash. And so these are our monster hand traps. And so real quick, we'll just say, I guess it does matter. 3 Imperms and 3 Impulses. So this is our 15 lineup. So we'll kind of get the obvious ones out of here. You know, Ash, you know, it's definitely a welcomed addition to the deck always. Imperm as well is a strong card. Impulse is amazing. It's my favorite hand trap right now. And then getting onto these guys. So one little thing is with Impulse, I believe it locks you out of Nib, and it locks you out of, yeah, it locks you to Droll. So one thing I do need to be careful of today is I can only use Droll and Nib if I use it before the Impulse. So there'll be some weirdness going on there. And I guess one other thing I should be saying is now Marvin had me playing, I believe he had me maining, either maining or siding a mixture of the 6 Charmies. And I let him know I just don't have those, and I can't play lists with those. So he did have to substitute here. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say he substituted the Bestials. Basically, this monster lineup, these were all supposed to be 6 Charmies. And then I'd have the Ash Impulses as well. And so this is a downgraded version of his list. And in the end, he's having to change his list on the fly to accommodate for my lack of, you know, cards I own. And I believe, especially with the Charmies, that, you know, it's not like you play Ash or don't play Ash. I believe the Charmies change or affect how you build your deck. And so this deck is definitely affected by losing the Charmies, I think. And so we'll see how these play out. But I do want to state that this is not his original list, that I am playing a downgraded version, and that these should be the 6 Charmies, where there'd be a lot more, where, yeah, if you had the Wind Charming in here, there would be some some confliction with the wind charmy and impulse, but you'd always play the wind charmy first, so it doesn't really matter. It wouldn't have mattered. So this is a little bit awkward, and I'll have to play around with this, but still, we are doing it because it's still an interesting list, and I think these cards will be fine. I don't think it's just like completely unplayable at all. I just think it's not what he wanted. But yeah, so that's the 40 card list here. It's definitely gonna be interesting seeing having the hand traps with impulse and seeing how that works out. How if I have awkward plays or not. Because there's other players who aren't going to have charmies that might want to play something along the lines of playing the nib or drolls and playing the impulses. I'm a fan of droll. I would play droll and impulse in the same list for sure. But yeah, and then the Bestials, we'll see how the Bestials play out. There's some lists that I think will be effective against, and there's maybe only a couple lists where I think it'll be bad. But I think for the most part, the Bestials will turn out pretty well. And yeah, so that is the current main deck list. Any last minute notes here is non-engine count is super heavy. We don't have the Mermail Abyss Triana equip spell anywhere in here. We also don't have Virtue Stream. So there's a lot of cards we're not playing with, especially like with no Megalo, Gun, the shadow count is down, no Deep Sea King. Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting day in terms of how this deck plays out. Very different from what I'm used to, and this is very opposite to in the way I would be building water right now. Well, I think that's really cool though. I'm actually really excited to try this out, and this is like the main reason on why I'm really interested and excited to do like this kind of series idea, because I want to be forced to play different strategies, and this is like exactly what I'm looking for. So we'll get into. But one other thing, it's not like I want to play, trash lists that people just throw together. Like, oh, here, play my silly card pile of water cards and whatever. I don't want that. Like this guy, he obviously spent time working on this list, and there's a real concept behind it, and there's real theory behind it, and so I like that. I like his whole idea with this list was he wanted to minimize the bricks as much as possible, which he really did. I mean, Mulan is kind of a brick. It is a little bit of a brick. Infantry is, I don't even think infantry is a brick. I really just say Mulan is a brick, and the General Ryo is a brick. But General Ryo, you can discard it and still get it off the Lancia. So it's really not that bad compared to like the Deep Sea King. So this deck, you really shouldn't be opening too bad of hands here. So I am very, very interested. But yeah, okay. Moving on to the extra deck. One Mermail King, two Corals. Those are the links. No Abyss Lacia, no like Abyss. I don't know, that fish that would summon Deep Sea King from your hand. I guess obviously that wouldn't be here. No Zeolantis. So a lot of interesting things going on here. I almost don't even know why. Well, no, I guess I do. I guess I do know why the Deep Sea King is here. But yeah, so two Corals for recursion. This is like, I guess it's like pretty standard at this point. That yeah, it seems like two Corals correct. It's just funny that you don't have the Zealantis to go in with the second Coral, but that's not the list we're playing today, boys. So whatever. And then Deep Sea King, Deep Sea King with spoiler alert, no equip spells in the side deck, no Triana in the main deck. It's like, what is Deep Sea King doing other than like floating you? Well, he is doing two things. One, he's allowing you need him to go full combo. That is true. I would say the only thing that is really tough is when you lose the Triana, you lose that second rank 4, and man, there's a part of me that's almost tempted just to put Triana in the list because I really like that card, and I don't know how you're making that second rank 4 without Triana or having the Leviature. There's no Leviature in this list, so you can't. There's no recycling like a Dragoon's back to hand and then normal summoning it with the infantry second normal effect. Because there's another combo line there where you send infantry to graveyard, and then when you use your Poseidra effect, you go like Poseidra summon back two level 3s and like an infantry, and then level 3s make Leviature adds back Dragoons, and then use your normal summon effect from infantry to summon the Dragoons, plus you'll usually discard Gund to summon Pike, and that's how you get your second rank 4. I don't think you're getting your second rank 4 here. Maybe I'll message him real quick before this local starts, and I'll let you guys know if there's any last minute changes that were made. But I probably won't be. This is probably that way he wanted it. And so I'm not discrediting him. I'm also noticing that there's no minstrel in the list at all. That's another pretty big note. No minstrel, because minstrel is somewhat of a brick for sure. But then also when you lose your minstrel, you lose that level 3 tuner access. So like when I'm looking at the synchros here, you can't really do any synchro lines with level 3s outside of like your Ran. And you can do Diva, but not with the synchros he has. So very, very interesting list. I'm really curious to see how this plays out today. But yeah, so we'll continue on here. We have one Poseidra, one Gaios, pretty standard. Yeah, at least one copies of each of these is definitely mandatory at this point. And then we have our two Bahamets, and we have our two Toads. Not sure how much the double Toad, double Bahamut will actually come up today. I feel like I might only be seeing one Toad plays, but we'll see when we get there. And then he mains the Mannequin Cat. This is fine because he has Prosperity. It's for the Shifter play, so we're still going to see if we can't resolve that Shifter today. And then it does take up a slot in the side deck, which I can appreciate. Although I can definitely say I feel like Mannequin Cat could probably go to the side, and there's just so many cards I think could be in this Mannequin Cat slot. Like, obviously we're looking at Zealantis, we're looking at Lacia, I'm looking at definitely some synchro options. Very interesting that we're giving up that extra deck slot, and it wouldn't be such a big deal, but the extra deck becomes pretty tight with the synchros because we play double Lancia, we play double Zero, and we play the one Trish. So this is our synchro lineup, and this is basically how we're trying to play this game, is focus on Lancia control, and then just having the follow up from the Zero and Trish. And now I do think it's going to be really strong. That no one's going to be expecting the follow up Zero. I think having the second Zero is pretty strong. I think Lancia is a really good card too. I think that Mermail King with Toad. I think Mermail King with Toad, Lancia, and King Ryo all under his arrows, so they can't be targeted. I think that's really strong too. So I think there's a lot of good here, and I think the idea of his list is that you want to just have control of the Lancia, and then just focus on beating down your opponent with hand traps and making them lose and basically making them run out of cards through the General Ryo and the follow up the Lancia, and then you just press them down from there. Another fact with Triana is you lose your recyclability. So this is I'm really interested in how this deck plays out. This is so outside of my comfort zone that I see a lot of initial red flags, but I haven't played the list at all. I don't know. So maybe my red flags are unwarranted. It'll be really interesting to see how this deck plays out. This is a very different list. So continuing on, side deck here, we have our one of, my God, I can't remember his name, Chaos Hunter for the Mannequin Cat combo. We have one Shifter for the crossout target, and then our one call by in the side, where we'll probably be putting this in when we go second, going first, maybe second against some matchups. And then we have triple crossout. This will hit the Droll, this will hit the Nib, this will hit Ash, Impulse, Shifter, obviously. And then we have our triple Cosmic. You just kind of have to respect those decks. Triple Dark Ruler, which I really do like. I really do like triple Dark Ruler. And then triple Evenly, which Evenly I go back and forth with. It hasn't really shown me that it's like a really strong card yet. It seems a little awkward at times. But there's still not enough testing time put in with the Evenly to really know how I feel about it. So I'm not disregarding it yet. But this might be a really good day to see how it plays out. I can definitely understand the idea of just evenly the field, or Dark Ruler evenly break their board with Poseidra, and then the rest of their board with Poseidra, and then put up a Lancia board, and then just I guess like let them not do anything. I don't know. Very interesting list. So this is it. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see how these games play out today. I have locals today in about 3-4 hours. So I'm going to try and get this list up right now, and then I'm going to head over to locals, and yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Wish me luck. Peace.